It would seem to me, madam, that if you wanted your car to be untouched for the time that you were away, and since the keys are readily accessible, you move the other two cars that were behind yours, because you're leaving.
Middle of the night.
That's
but
your
no
fault.
one has ever moved the car out
Listen
to the
to
street
me.
and left it there.
That requires
That's not true.
you
It is
to
true.
have,
You guys are lying.
hey, that requires you to have a little consideration for other people. It requires you to put your car in the first space so that nobody else has to be inconvenienced with your car. That way, there is no reason whatsoever to move your car. Your car is in the first spot. Everybody else has to be behind you. Why didn't you do that?
I also found out that
Why didn't you do that?
because we left in a hurry and it was
Not
about
going to inconvenience anybody else, since you were the first one leaving on spring break and they weren't leaving for a while. You chose not to do that. It's not their fault. I don't know how much this table is worth. The table had been out for a long time. You could buy a new one for $69. I'm going to give you credit for $40 for the table, because I think if you put the telephone, because if you broke the telephone in a fit of rage, then you're responsible for your own anger. You have to take responsibility for your own actions. All I can tell you is this: it's very difficult for young people to live together. But there have to be certain rules, and those rules should be set down in the trouble to put the table inside so it wouldn't be stolen. You are at least partially responsible for that. Pay careful attention to me. You owe them $665. You understand? That's for the rent. You had no basis to leave, sticking them with the rent.
After I was being coerced and harassed.
And they said, come on, let's try to do this in a fair manner. We'll toss a coin. You didn't want to toss a coin. The next thing they said was, well, maybe we could switch around so that everybody can have an opportunity to have a nice room with a view. You also dismissed that idea. Now, I didn't get into not doing your end of the recycling or putting in your $10 being a good citizen. But that's what happens when you live together. That's what you have to do. You can't always get the best piece of the pie. Sometimes you have to share. That's it. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $665. Immediately. And I think one of the first things is, in a democratic community, and you were moving into a democratic community, is that you should try to do things that seem fair. This whole problem started with you, madam, because when you did something to these young ladies that they didn't feel was fair. There were 5 other girls, one really nice room.